everybody, welcome back to the shop. So recently I was playing around on the old CARVECO and CARVECO here, and we were doing different kinds of signs, trying to use some different kinds of concepts and blending different ways of doing things together. And what we come up with is a carve that combines relief carving and a sign with letters. Now, I didn't come up with this all on my own. Bucky from Bucky's Customs and I were talking about this, and he said, wouldn't a sign look cool if it had, you know, a relief in it and the letters were at the same height of the relief with no transition around it, you couldn't tell? And I said, yeah, that would be pretty cool. So I sat down and started playing with CARVECO and figured out how to do it. Now, that's what we're going to do today. This carve happens to be 7 hours and 3 minutes long. So sit back. You've got some time to eat lunch, breakfast, and dinner before this one's over. I'm just kidding. I'm not going to make you wait that long or watch it that long. We'll fast forward through pretty much all of this. But when we get done, the piece that's finished is really quite impressive. So sit back, enjoy the video. Thanks for watching. I hope you get something out of it. Let's get started. And so this here is part of the reason why it's going to take 7 hours. This sign is going to be 24 by 24. So it's pretty massive for a relief.
So maybe not really massive, but large compared to what we would normally do for a relief. We put a crosshair in the center. Now I use a nail gun on the bigger pieces to hold the piece down onto the wasteboard, and my nail gun was fighting with me here, but we got it down. It's ready to go. Now the other reason why this thing is going to take so long is because I chose to use a 1/8 inch end mill as a roughing bit. Should have used a 1/4 inch, and I could have went a lot faster. As it turned out, about midway through the roughing tool passes, I broke that 1/8 inch bit and had to replace it. Luckily I was standing right next to the machine when it happened, so it only went maybe for a minute before it had dawned on me what had taken place. So as you can see here, we're cutting out the top portion. Another little tidbit of information too. This bit is a 1/8 inch spiral upcut bit, and whenever you're cutting something like a relief, you should be using a down cut. It'll remove all that hair that's on the top of the carve for you. Cuts down on the sanding, but when the finishing bit goes across, it'll also clean up all that hair and you won't have to deal with it. But it should have dawned on me the amount of hair that was being produced on this thing. The bit was getting dull, which in turn gets hot. Now right there is where it broke. We've had this machine for roughly a year now. That is the first bit that we've actually snapped off and broke. When you're doing a carving and it's 6-7 hours long and it's pretty boring watching that machine go back and forth, you might as well watch one of Vernon Hinkle's YouTube videos on your cell phone. That'll help pass the time.
Whew! Okay, so 2 hours and 2 minutes left to go, and it's ready for a bit change. This has been a long one.
When you have one of these CNC machines and it tells you you have 2 hours to go and you're looking at a carve of this size, this magnitude, don't believe it. The machine is lying to you. It's quite a bit longer than 2 hours, and I'll tell you how long it is here at the end of the video. You saw me there with my little sander. The reason for that was, as I had removed the material from the center of this relief, it was only 1/4 inch thick remaining, and it started to warp. I had to go around and put in 2 or 3 more nails to hold the center portion down, and because of that warp, before I put the nails in, it put a line across the base of that carving, right through the deer's feet, through the tree trunk, so I was taking that sander to get rid of that little line. Now here, when this finishes, the transition from relief to the rest of the board, all that remains is a little bitty line, and I was able to easily remove that with just a little bit of hand sanding. And you cannot tell the difference between the two spots where that thing was working between relief carving and where it carved out the name.
Alright everybody, there you have it. A nice sign that we made in a 7-hour carve, a 7.5-hour carve, turned into a 12-hour carve. As you can see, it's dark outside if you look out them windows out there, and I had to get the cold weather gear out. I didn't want to start my wood stove up for a few hours, so we're in here shivering. I've eaten 3 meals in here since I started this stupid carve, but anyway, now we've got some serious cleanup to do, and we'll have to figure out what we're going to do for a finish on it. So stick with me and we'll keep going here. Maybe in the morning.
I didn't figure you needed to watch me do all that cleanup and sanding. You've seen that 1,000 times before. But what we decided on was a torch to burn in the outline of the relief and make it stand out a little bit proud. So we just go around everything, gently burning to highlight the stuff. You can also see that I trimmed off the excess on each side of the piece so that there's a border around it that is exactly the same size. The clamps in the corners are there because I took a piece of 3/4 inch plywood and put it on the back of this thing, glued it to the back of it to make sure that I hold this sign flat so that it can't warp. Alright folks, there you go, a pretty cool sign. Not too bad for our first attempt. We're going to throw some polyurethane on it and be done with it. As always, thanks for watching. I hope you got something out of the video. I hope you enjoyed it. Maybe picked up a tip here or there. Please give us a like, subscribe if you haven't done so already. And as always, we'll catch you on the next one.